10 days the ocean kept their secret. On the 11th, in the icy morning fog, where sky and water merged into one endless gray nothingness, a United States Coast Guard cutter stumbled upon the fishing boat Seagull. She wasn't responding to radio calls, wasn't flashing any distress signals, and was simply drifting in the open sea, like an abandoned ghost carried by the lazy northern current. And here's the question that hooks you right from the start and won't let go. If 4 men vanish without a trace, why does everything on the boat look like they just stepped away for a minute and are about to come back? The sailor who boarded first later told reporters he expected silence. What shocked him was the order, perfect, eerie order that screamed louder than any scream. The gear was neatly stowed, as if someone had just tidied up. No signs of a fight, no panic, no storm damage. In the cramped cabin, on the little table covered with flowered oilcloth, sat a half-drunk mug of cool tea. Next to it, a half-eaten sandwich with dried fish, dusted with a thin film of salt from the sea air. Like someone said, "Hold on a sec, I'll be right back," and dissolved into thin air. 4 men had headed out to sea 10 days earlier, full of hope, plans, and their own hidden motives. Now all that was left of them was an empty boat. Guys, pause for a second. Before I go on, drop a comment telling me what city or country you're watching from. I'm genuinely curious who's diving into this story with me right now. And if you love cases that keep your heart racing till the very end, hit subscribe and turn on notifications. It only gets crazier from here. Spring 1995 came early and warm to a small coastal town in Maine. The harbor, Pier 3, the smell of fresh paint, tar, and diesel, and that special feeling of a new season that every fisherman who's ever chased luck at sea knows well. 4 men stood on the pier. Jack Sullivan, 42, the life of any party, perpetual smile, the luckiest fisherman on the whole coast. He slapped the freshly painted blue hull of Seagull with a broad palm and grinned slyly. "Hey guys, ready for the catch of a lifetime? I found a spot, dug up some old charts. It's not just fish down there, it's real treasure." Next to him, his childhood friend Mike Grant, also 42. Complete opposite. Wired, sharp, always on edge. Expensive jacket, new jeans, Casio digital watch, looked like he came to the pier to solve problems, not to fish. He laughed, but the laugh had a metallic edge. "Jack, the main thing is that your treasure covers my very real debt. You owe me $10,000, and honestly, my creditors are calling louder than the ocean's calling you." Third, Tom Walker, 45, owner of the boat. Former Navy sailor, discipline in his blood. While the others joked, he quietly checked everything: lines, fuel, radio, flares. He spoke softly, but every word sounded like an order on board. Clear heads, no freelancing. The ocean doesn't forgive mistakes. And fourth, Eddie Fisher, 38. The quietest of the bunch. Barely spoke, mostly listened and nodded. The perfect background for brighter personalities. Always ready to help, carry, support, but never in the spotlight. You feel it already, right? 3 loud ones, 1 silent. Money, debts, old maps, promises of riches, and a tiny boat with way too little space for way too many secrets. They left at dawn to the sound of other boats' horns. Full of hope and their own private calculations, 10 days later the boat was found empty. The 1995 investigation was rushed and jittery. Those were the times. Young Detective Clark went straight for the money trail. Debt, argument, motive. Jack's widow Laura, sobbing uncontrollably, pointed at Mike. It was him. They fought. He yelled he'd find a way to settle it once and for all. Mike became suspect number 1. Grilled for hours, but he stuck to his story. Left on day 2, picked up by the passing trawler Northern Star. Nobody believed him. Tom Walker gave calm, detailed testimony. Mike got too hot-headed. At sea any spark can start a fire, I warned Jack. Bringing Mike was a risk. Eddie Fisher barely spoke during questioning, just trembled and whispered. Jack was obsessed lately, kept talking about some island. Called it Dragon's Tooth, our chance to get rich. Evidence was weird. Mike's expensive rod snapped clean in half. Jack's old cassette recorder, water ruined, deemed unrecoverable. Tom's logbook ends mid-sentence on day 3. And a torn-out map page with a small rocky island circled in red. Locals called it Dragon's Tooth because of the jagged cliffs. One detail almost nobody noticed back then. The fuel tanks were nearly 3/4 full. For a boat supposedly out 10 days, that's strange, to put it mildly. No hard evidence. Case closed after a few months. Accidental death at sea. Nearly 30 years pass. In 2024, Jack's grandson Alex Sullivan, a 23-year-old coder, cleaning out the garage after his grandma Laura's death, finds that same old recorder. Takes it to his buddy Nick, a wizard with vintage gear and audio restoration. A week later Nick calls. Alex, sit down. I got the tape working. It changes everything. Guys, this is where it gets insane. Subscribe if you haven't. You won't be able to stop watching. The tape confirms Mike really did leave on day 2. You hear the trawler's diesel approaching, voices, the sound of someone jumping ship. Focus shifts to Tom. He was terrified of losing the boat, his last asset. Maybe he tried to stop the illegal salvage by force. But then a line from Jack on day 5. Eddie's completely silent today. Second day without a word. Just sits staring at the water. Like he's hypnotized. Paradox. The log ends on day 3, yet Jack is speaking on day 5. Police visit the only living witness, Eddie Fisher, now 67. Quiet life, tidy little house, photo albums, newspaper clippings. I saved everything. His alibi is rock solid. Came back early because his mother was dying, searched like a madman when the others didn't return. Everything checks out, then Nick calls again. Couldn't let it go. Ran the tape through a brand new artificial intelligence audio cleanup tool. Found something in the background noise. They play it. The artificial intelligence pulls out a faint sound almost beyond human hearing. The steady putt-putt of a small outboard motor, the kind on an inflatable dinghy. And at the very end, what everyone thought was just static, after cleanup, faint words emerge. Barely a whisper. The man clearly doesn't know the recorder is still running. He's rehearsing his story to himself. I'll say they argued no. They won't buy that. Better say there was a storm, yeah, sudden storm, they all died. I barely survived, mom was sick, I came back early, it all fits, nobody will ever prove anything. The voice is Eddie's. And in that moment the whole puzzle snaps together, horrifyingly, perfectly. Fuel tanks nearly full, the boat drifted far less than 10 days. Ironclad alibi, because it was planned in advance. They reopened the logbook. On the very last page nobody ever checked. Different handwriting, hurried, shaking. Tom's final entry. Radio dead for good. Engine failing. Oil leaking. Jack and Eddie took the dinghy to Dragon's Tooth for the rest of the cargo. I stayed to fix the motor. If I don't make it, look for them there. I'm scared. That note flips everything. Tom wasn't the killer. He was abandoned. The reconstruction is brutally logical. Mike leaves day 2, confirmed. Jack obsessed with salvaging treasure. Eddie, quiet, invisible Eddie, had spent his whole life in the shadows and suddenly stood inches from real money. Jack and Eddie head to the island in the dinghy. That outboard sound on the tape. Tom stays behind fixing the engine, possibly sabotage. On the island something happens. Jack disappears. Eddie doesn't return to Seagull. He heads straight to shore. He has the motor and a head start. Hides the loot, preps his story, becomes the grief-stricken friend, the most active volunteer. Lives like that for almost 30 years. Police arrive with a warrant. According to officers at the scene, Eddie opens the door calmly. Almost relieved, like a man who's carried a crushing weight too long. I always knew that damn recorder would talk someday. In a hidden safe, coins, old gold watches, medals, things that should never have been in private hands. Proof the treasure was real. The bodies were never found. The ocean still guards the rest of the truth. But the scariest part isn't even the treasure. The scariest part is realizing the most dangerous person in the group is often not the one yelling and threatening. It's the one who stays quiet, nods and remembers everything. Tell me honestly in the comments, could you live 30 years with a secret like that eating you inside? Or would one careless, whispered rehearsal, caught by accident, be the thing that finally gives you away when technology learns to hear it decades later? If this story grabbed you, smash that like button, tell me where you're watching from, share it with friends. Let's get this to 1 million views together. Stories like this deserve to be heard by everyone. Subscribe, there's way more coming. Thanks for sticking till the end. You guys are the best.